Hello, this is a brief overview of the steps required for mounting some cross-country ski bindings, the Salomon SN Pilot Sports Classic. Here's the equipment that you're going to need for doing this procedure. Note that we've got two different drill bits, a smaller bit to just be able to drill a hole, and then the larger one to enlarge it to the size that we need for the screws. That white plastic piece there, that will be mounted on the ski first. And so all three of those holes will need to be drilled, and then that'll be mounted. And then the actual binding itself it slides into that plastic piece, and then there's two more screws that will have had to be drilled, and then that'll drill down, or fasten down onto the ski. The bit that we're going to use for screwing the screws in is I'm not sure the name of it, but it's like a Phillips, but it's got like a blunt nose on it there. So you can see here, let's grab it. See how it's got that blunt nose. So that either a hand screwdriver or a cordless drill or just any kind of drill would work, but that'll be the bit. And so one of our first steps we're going to work on is centering the ski. And once we find that spot on this little plastic piece, see that little notch there? That's what we're going to line up with that, and then we're going to drill the holes centered on the ski to mount that strip. Alright, on to the next step. Alright, the next step then is to get this plastic piece mounted on the ski. And as you can see, we have marked our center point on the ski, and we are lining it up with that notch that's on the plastic base. Then I've gone ahead and marked the points that need to be drilled on each of the holes, and we're going to do that now. We're going to do a small bit first, and the thing to be careful about this is not drilling through the bottom of the ski, of course. A real common practice is to put a little piece of tape around the bit so that you don't go any deeper than that piece of tape. So we'll probably do that, but first we'll drill the small hole, and then we'll drill a little bit bigger hole, and then we'll screw in the screws and fasten down this base piece. Alright, now that we have the base plate mounted, screws in place, one little quick note here: sometimes people put a dab of glue in the hole before they screw the screws in. I did not do that for mine, but if that's something that you feel like would be added security on your screws, they go in pretty tight, so there really isn't an issue of them coming out. And with this type of binding, where it has a base plate and then slides onto that, and then there's two additional screws, there's a lot of screws that are holding this binding in place, so glue isn't a necessity for this mounting. Alright, so the next step here would be to take that binding and slide it on the base plate and get it in position, and then mark the two holes that we need to drill spots for, and then we'll drill those holes, then we'll remount it, and we'll screw those last two screws in. Alright, we have the final screws for the binding screwed in now, and our last little piece will be to put this piece in, and you clip it over there and you snap it in, and you're all done. Good luck. Alright, we've got our bindings mounted, and we're ready to take them out on the hill. Let's just do a quick review of the steps that I did today. Mark the center of your skis, then mark the drill holes for the base, making sure you line up that mark with the center marking on your ski. I used a 3/64 inch bit to kind of prime the hole, and then I used a 5/32 inch bit for the hole before drilling the screw or screwing the screw in. Slide the binding on in place. It moves from the front to the back and it locks in place. And then go ahead and mark the holes that you'll need to have for screwing the binding in. Then remove the binding, drill the holes, and then slide the binding in place and screw it down. And then there's one last little clip that you put over the screws that comes with the bindings, and then you're all set. Enjoy the skiing.